Hi, this is Vicki Horton-Russian, and I am the instructor for Cosmetology 1000 of Electricity. So if you take notes when you go through this PowerPoint, when you take notes as you go through this video, it'll help you with doing your assignments. It'll make it a lot easier to do the assignments. And remember, when you see it, you hear it, you write it, and then all of the extra assignments that you've done on it, that is going to help you to retain it, okay? We're going to identify the nature of electricity and the two basic types of electric current. We are going to list electrical measurements, understand the principles of electrical equipment safety, and we are going to examine the main electric modalities used in cosmetology. So other learning objectives are outline the other types of electrical equipment that cosmetologists use and describe and how to use them, explain electromagnetic spectrum, visible spectrum of light and invisible light, compare the types of light therapy and their benefits. So cosmetologists use and rely upon a variety of electrical appliances. Knowing what electricity is and how it works will allow you to use it wisely and safely. It's very important for us as cosmetologists and nail technicians to know a little bit about electricity, especially in our field that we work in. We work with a lot of things that are hooked to electricity. A basic understanding of electricity will enable you to properly use and care for your equipment and tools. As cosmetologists, you have to deal with your clippers. You're not always going to have somebody there to adjust them and fix them. You're going to have to learn all about that. That has to do with electricity. You want to make sure anything's unplugged when you use it. And you think a lot of it's common sense, but some people have been electrocuted because they've touched things when it was still hooked to electricity. So accidents happen. So you decided to enter this field because you love cosmetology and all the services it offers to clients: hairstyling, hair coloring, perms, facials, mani-pedis. How many of these services could you offer without using electricity? Think about that. How many services could you really offer without using electricity? Even nail technicians use an electric drill most of the time. As you study this chapter, you will learn how important it is for cosmetology professionals to have a basic working knowledge of electricity. So electricity is the movement of electrons from one atom to another along a conductor. That's what electricity is. Make sure that you remember that, know that, put it on an index card, highlight it in your book. Electricity is a form of energy that, when in motion, exhibits magnetic, chemical, or thermal effects. Electric current. This is the flow of electricity along a conductor. All substances can be classified as either conductors or insulators, depending on the ease with which a current can be transmitted through them. Conductor is any material that conducts electricity. Most metals are good conductors. This means that electricity will pass through the material easily. Copper is a particularly good conductor and is used in electric wiring and electric motors. Non-conductors, also known as insulators. So non-conductors are also known as insulators. It is a substance that does not easily transmit electricity. Rubber, silk, wood, glass, cement are good insulators. Okay, rubber, silk, wood, glass, and cement are very good insulators or non-conductors. Direct current, abbreviated DC, is a constant, even flowing current that travels in one direction only and is produced by chemical means. Flashlights, mobile telephones, and cordless hair styling tools use the direct current produced by batteries. An inverter is an apparatus that changes direct current to alternating current. Inverters usually have a plug and a cord. They allow you to use appliances outside of the salon or your home that normally would have to be plugged into an electrical wall outlet. The mobile phone charger in a car is an example of an inverter. Okay, so the mobile phone charger, that phone charger in your car, is an example of an inverter. An alternating current You need to know the differences between these currents. Alternating current, abbreviated AC, is a rapid and interrupted current flowing first in one direction and then in the alternate, first in one direction and then in the opposite direction. It is produced by mechanical means and changes direction 60 times per second. Corded hair dryers, curling irons, electric files, and table lamps that plug into a wall outlet use alternating currents. A rectifier is an apparatus that changes alternating currents. So a rectifier is an apparatus that changes the alternating currents from AC to DC. Okay, so to direct current. So it alternates currents AC to direct current DC. Cordless electric clippers and mobile phone chargers use a rectifier to change the AC from an electric wall outlet to the DC needed to recharge your batteries. Okay, let's look at our little chart here. Direct current, it has a constant flow. It travels in one direction, it's produced by chemical means. An alternating current is rapid and interrupted flow, travels in two directions, both ways, produced by mechanical means. A volt, abbreviated V, and also known as voltage, the unit that measures the pressure or force that pushes electric current forward through a conductor. So that's what volt is. Okay, it's the unit that measures the pressure or the force that pushes the electric current forward through a conductor. An ampere, abbreviated A, and also known as amp, the unit that measures the strength of an electric current. So volt measures the pressure and the force, okay, that goes through a conductor. Amp measures the strength of an electric current. The milliampere, abbreviated MA, 1/1000th of an ampere, these are used for facials and scalp treatments because amps would be too strong, to apply on your face. It'd be just too strong, but a milliamp wouldn't. Ohm, abbreviated O, a unit that measures the resistance of an electric current. Current will not flow through a conductor unless the force, volt, is stronger than the resistance, ohms, OHM. It just measures that resistance. Watt is abbreviated W, a unit that measures how much electricity energy is being used in 1 second. A watt, how much energy is used in 1 second. A 40-watt bulb uses 40 watts of energy per second, so 40 watts per second. Kilowatt, abbreviated K, is 1,000 watts. The electricity in your house is measured in kilowatts per hour. kWh, a 1,000 watt, 1 kilowatt hairdryer uses 1,000 watts of energy per second. And that's always good to know because you need to know how strong your hairdryers are. Okay, so electrical measurements. So it's showing you a low voltage, high voltage, low amps, high amperage. Okay, all electrical equipment should be inspected regularly to determine whether it is safe. It is in safe working order. Careless electrical connections and overloaded circuits can result in an electrical shock, a burn, or even a serious fire. So we don't want to overload anything. So we don't want to be careless about our electrical connections and overloading circuits because it can result in shocks or burns or even serious fire. In a salon, it's really important that we don't do that. A fuse prevents excessive currents from passing through a circuit. It is designed to blow out or melt when the wire becomes too hot for the overloading the circuit with too much current, such as when too many appliances or faulty equipment are connected to an electrical source. A circuit breaker is a switch that automatically interrupts or shuts off an electric circuit at the first indication of an overload. Circuit breakers have replaced fuses in modern electric circuits because circuit breakers can shut it off before it overloads and causes a fire. So if you've never seen a circuit breaker, so for one of these, for one of your assignments to upload, is I'd love for you to find someone who has a circuit breaker and take a picture of it to show me that you know what a circuit breaker looks like, okay? And if you look at a circuit breaker, if it's thrown, like, you can tell when one's shut off, they're all going the same way. So the one that's not going the same way, if you've lost electricity in your house, I don't know if you've ever been through this. I have. I had a trailer years ago, and it had a circuit breaker, and if something clicked off, it's usually because they plugged in too many appliances in the bathroom, because I had 6 kids. And so I would just go back to the breaker, and I don't know if it was not labeled or what, but I just kind of looked at all the ones, and the one that was flipped the wrong way, I knew was the one that had flipped. And so then I would go and flip it back on. Usually you're supposed to find out, hey, don't plug so many things in at the same time. But, and then you just flip it back the other way. So you need to know, make sure that you know how to flip a switch, okay? How to flip it back on. And usually you need to check out why it did that. So if you didn't just plug in too many things, or if you don't know why it messed up, you want to get an electrician out there, because that's how things burn down. Or it'll just keep flicking off and you keep flicking it back on. Okay. Grounding completes an electrical circuit and carries the current safely away. That's what grounding does. Everybody wants to ground something so it can complete the circuit and carry it safely away. If you don't have a grounding, you can get electrocuted. All electrical appliances must have at least 2 rectangular electrical connections or prongs on the plug. The 2 prongs supply electric current to the circuit. Some appliances, especially the ones with metal casing, have a 3rd circular electric connection that is a grounding pin. This is called a three-prong plug. The grounding pin is designed to guarantee a safe path of electricity and prevent the user from electrical shock, even if a wire comes loose. So they've made electricity a lot more safe nowadays than it used to be. Ground fault interrupters, commonly known as GITs with S, GITs, are designed to protect from electrical shock by interrupting a household circuit when there is a leak in the circuit. GFIs, ground fault interrupters, required by the electrical code for receptacles in bathrooms, kitchens, and some outside receptacles. GFIs is designed to detect currents of fewer milliamps and trip a breaker at the receptacle or at the breaker panel. All the electrical appliances you use should be UL certified. So if they don't have this UL sign that you're seeing here on the screen, they're not certified. You want to be very careful about using them. Read all the instructions carefully before using any piece of electrical equipment. Disconnect all appliances when not in use. Pull on the plug, not the cord, to disconnect. And you know, a lot of us have bad habits of pulling on the cord. No, pull on the plug, not the cord, because you can hurt the wiring in there. Inspect all electrical equipment regularly. Keep all wires, plugs, and electrical equipment in good repair. Use only one plug in each outlet. Overloading may cause the circuit breaker to pop. If more than one plug is needed in an area, use a power strip with a surge protector. And I honestly have 2 power strips in my salon, because I rent the booth there, one on one wall and one on the other, and I plug stuff into both of them. And honestly, it's amazing how much I plug into those power strips. They really do work really well. If more than one plug is needed in an area, use a power strip with a surge protector. Okay. Avoid contact for both you and your client with water and metal surfaces when using electricity. Do not handle electrical equipment in wet hands. Keep electrical cords off the floor and away from everyone's feet. Getting tangled in a cord could cause you or your client to trip. Do not leave your client unattended while the client is connected to an electrical device. Do not attempt to clean around electric outlets when equipment is plugged in. Do not touch 2 metal objects at the same time if either is connected to electric currents. Do not step on or place objects on electrical cords. Do not allow electrical cords to become twisted. This can cause a short circuit. Do not attempt to repair electrical appliances on your own. How many people have done that, right? Just need to be careful because, and I know sometimes we do our home little things, but you got to be really careful, especially in a salon, because there's a lot of people that come in and out of the salon. Have students inspect their kit items such as curling irons, blow dryers, and other equipment in the classroom for UL approvals. So I want you to do that. You know, if you've already got your kit, if you haven't got it, don't worry about it. But maybe on your dryer, maybe you didn't cut the tab off. If you've bought a dryer, you know, everything should have a UL, a plastic thing that it just sticks on it. And I know I still have some at the shop that probably have it on it because I didn't cut them off, but that just makes sure that they're approved. They're safe. One plug per outlet. Not the one over there where everything's plugged into that one outlet, but the one with the power strip. So invest them. They're worth it. We have them everywhere. I'm telling you, we have them everywhere. And they are a blessing. And two, you can turn everything off from, I mean, you just turn everything off. I just unplugged my power cord from the electricity. I don't even unplug my cords from the power cord. I just plug the two because I have extra lights in my booth I rent. So, and I like lots of light. And so I unplug both those cords and then turn off the light. That's all I got to do. Everything is unplugged from electricity in my booth. I really enjoy that. All right, the use of electrical currents to treat the skin is commonly referred to as electrotherapy. The currents used in electrical facials and scalp treatments are called modeles. I'm sure you know that, okay? Those electrical facial and scalp treatments are called modeles. An electrode, also known as a probe, this is an apparatus that conducts the electric current from the machine to the client's skin. It is usually made of carbon, glass, or metal. Each modele requires 2 electrodes, one negative and one positive, except for the TELSA high frequency. So each modele requires 2 electrodes, one negative and one positive, except for the TELSA. That one does not. The polarity is the positive or negative state of electric current. That's what polarity is. It's a positive and negative state of electric current. Electrotherapy devices have a negatively charged pole and a positively charged pole. Positive or negative state of an electric current. Electrotherapy equipment has a negative charged pole and a positively charged pole. An anode, A-N-O-D-E, marked as P, or the plus sign. The cathode is the negative pole. It's black and is marked with an N or minus sign. So the anode, which is the positive, is always usually red. It's marked with a plus sign. Okay, the 3 main modeles used in cosmetology are galvanic current, microcurrent, and TELSA high frequently. These are the 3 main ones, okay? The galvanic current is a constant and direct current having a positive and negative pole that produces a chemical change when it passes through the tissues and fluids of the body. The active electrode is the electrode used on the area to be treated, that you're treating. The inactive electrode is the opposite pole from the active electrode. The effects produced by the positive pole are the exact opposite of those produced by the negative pole. Galvanic current is used to infuse water-soluble products into unbroken skin, and the scientific term for that process is called phoresis. P-H-O-R-E-S-I-S. P-H-O-R-E-S-I-S. That's what it's called when they infuse water into unbroken skin. That's a scientific term for it. Inotophoresis is the process of introducing water-soluble products into the skin with the use of electric current, such as the use of positive and negative poles of galvanic machines. The cataphoresis infuses an acidic positive product into deeper tissue, using galvanic current from the positive pole toward the negative pole. Anaphoresis infuses an alkaline, negative product into the tissue from the negative pole toward the positive pole. Disincrustation is a form of anaphoresis and is a process used to soften and emulsify grease deposits, oil, and blackheads into the hair follicles. So just know that that's what disincrustation is. It has to do with the blackheads, okay? You soften them and emulsify them with grease deposits, the oil and grease deposits. And that's anaphoresis. Microcurrent is an extremely low level of electricity that mirrors the body's natural electrical impulses. It can be used ionophoresis, firming, toning, and soothing skin. It also can help heal inflamed tissues such as acne. Microcurrent can be effective in the following ways: improves blood and lymph circulation. You need to know almost everything on these slides, but produces acidic and alkaline reactions, opens and closes hair follicles and pores, and increases muscle tone. Stores elasticity, reduces redness and inflammation, minimizes healing time for acne lesions, improves the natural protective barrier of skin, and increases metabolism. Wow. Microcurrent would be well worth getting. Also known as, TELSA, high frequency, also known as violet ray, is a thermal or heat-producing current with a high rate of oscillation or vibration that is commonly used for scalp and facial treatments. TELSA current does not produce muscle contractions, and the effects can be either stimulating or soothing, depending on the method of the application. The electrodes are made from either glass or metal, and only one electrode is used to perform the service. Never use TELSA high frequency current on clients who are pregnant, epileptic, or asthmatic, or who have a high blood pressure, excessive feelings in the teeth, sinus blockage, or pacemaker or metal implants. So see, if you were working in a place that did this, I mean, you need to make sure that you're doing a good consultation. So you want to make sure you do a good consultation so that you can make sure that all these areas are not going to be part of that. That's something that you're going to be doing. The benefits of the TELSA high frequency currents are: stimulates blood circulation, increases elimination and absorption, increases skin improves germicidal action, relieves skin congestion. And so when you go through your facial treatments, they probably will bring out, I know that at the Savannah Technical College, we had a machine that did the microabrasions. And so there is a machine there. I don't know if they're using it at this point or what, but they'll show you all the pieces on it. And we even did a few demonstrations before. Identify other electrical equipment. Okay, we know about the hood dryers, heat lamps, sources of dry heat that can be used to shorten chemical processing time. The ionic hair dryers and irons, effective at combating static electricity and flyaway hair. Curling and flat irons, having built-in heating elements and plugged directly into a wall outlet. Thermal styling tools now have the capacity to get extremely hot. Heating caps provides a uniform source of heat and can be used with hair and scalp conditioning treatments. Hair coloring processing or accelerating, shorten the time it takes to process chemical hair services. These processors usually look similar to a hood dryer and dispense a hot water vapor inside the hood. Steamer or vaporizers produce moist, uniform heat that can be applied to the head or face. Light therapy equipment includes lasers, light-emitting diodes, LEDs, and intense pulse light. These types of equipment are medical devices and should be only used by licensed professionals. And so if you're going to go in to be an esthetician or something, you can't be an esthetician with just a cosmetology license. You have to go and get extra training. Okay, there's a lot of things that we can do, but there's things that we do need more training for if you're going to go um, into the fit like barbering. Okay, you have to get more hours to go to be a barber instructor. You can't get it with a cosmetology license. You can't be an esthetician with just a cosmetology license. So you can work in a spa, but you can't be an esthetician. So there's a lot of things you can do, but there's some things that we cannot do, like because we're not allowed to go below the go below the shoulders or above the knees. So that area from the knees to the shoulders are off limits to a cosmetologist because that's not what we deal with. Okay, estheticians now they deal with a lot more than that. Okay, explain light energy and light therapy. Electromagnetic spectrum, also known as electromagnetic spectrum of radiation, is the name given to all of the forms of energy or radiation that exist. Wavelength is the distance between successive peaks of electromagnetic waves. So that a wavelength is just the distance between the peaks of electromagnetic waves. Long wavelengths have a low frequency. Short wavelengths have a higher frequency. The measurement of distance between two wavelengths. So waveform is the measurement of the distance between two wavelengths. Visible spectrum of light. The part of the electromagnetic spectrum that can be seen, visible light makes up only 35% of the natural light. Know that. Visible light only makes up 35% of the natural light. Within the visible spectrum of light, violet has the shortest wavelength and red has the longest. The wavelength of infrared light is just below that of red light, and the wavelength of ultraviolet light is just above that of the violet light. All right, so just kind of look at this example for you here. It's just amazing how the colors just come out, isn't it? So it's showing you the ultraviolet down here, the shorter wavelength, higher frequency, less penetrating, and it's invisible. 5% of natural sunshine. And then it shows you up at the top, infrared, longer wavelengths, lower frequency. They're more penetrating, they're invisible. They're 60% of the natural sunshine. The light at either end of the visible spectrum of light that is invisible to the naked eye. Before the visible violet light of the spectrum is ultraviolet light, it is the shortest and least penetrating light of the spectrum. Beyond the visible red light of the spectrum is infrared light, which produces heat. So the infrared light, it produces heat. Ultraviolet UV light, abbreviated UV light, also known as cold light or actinic light, ACTINIC light, invisible light that has a short wavelength, giving it a higher energy, less penetrating than visible light, causes chemical reactions to happen more quickly than visible light, produces less heat than visible light, and kills some germs. Types of the UV light. There are 3 types of UV light. 3 types. UVA. Light has the longest wavelength of the UV light spectrum and penetrates directly into the dermis of the skin, damaging the collagen and elastin. UVA light is the light that is often used in tanning beds. Okay, so it's very bad. I made a promise to my mother years ago, and I love the sun. I'm from Florida, and I really, I enjoy the sunshine. I miss the beaches. I enjoy the sunshine, but I was going to tanning salons for a while, and my mother, there's a lot of cancer in our family, and she's like, Vicki, you got to promise me that you will not go to tanning beds. And, oh my gosh, I was like, oh my gosh, I got to promise you. And so I did, and I've kept that promise, even though, boy, it's been tempting sometimes, but I've kept that promise. But I said, no, I'm always going to do the natural light. I'll pray over it, but I just like the sunshine. I pray the Lord to just protect me from it. All right, so UVB light is often called the burning light because it is the most associated with sunburns. Excessive use of both UVA and UVB light cannot cause skin cancer. Ultra C light is blocked by the ozone layer. If the Earth loses the protective layer of the ozone, life will no longer exist as we know it. We do not want to deplete the ozone layer because it protects us from the UVC radiation. Infrared light. Infrared light has longer wavelengths, penetrates more deeply, has less energy, and produces more heat than visible light. Infrared light makes up 60% of natural light. 60% of natural light. So infrared light makes up 60% of natural sunlight. Infrared lamps are used mainly during hair conditioning treatments and to process hair color. They are also used in spas and saunas for relaxation and for warming up muscles. Infrared light has been used to diminish signs of aging, such as wrinkles, to heal wounds, and to increase circulation. Catalysts are substances that speed up chemical reactions. Some catalysts use heat as an energy source, while others use light. Whatever the energy source, catalysts absorb energy like a battery. Light therapy, also known as phototherapy, is the application of light rays to the skin for the treatment of wrinkles, capillaries, pigmentation, or hair removal. Acronym for light amplification, stimulation, emission of radiation. It uses electromagnetic radiation for hair removal and skin treatments. Photothermolysis is a process that turns the light from the laser into heat. Can remove blood vessels, can disable hair follicles, can remove tattoos, can eliminate some wrinkles. Lasers work by means of a medium, solid, liquid, or gas, or semiconductor that emits light when stimulated by a power source. The medium is placed in a specifically designed chamber with mirrors located inside both ends. The chamber is stimulated by an energy source such as an electric current, which in turn stimulates the particles. The mirrors create light that becomes trapped and goes back and forth through the medium, gaining energy with each pass. The medium determines the wavelength of the laser and its use. Most lasers are classified as level 2 or above, which means that the practitioner should be working under a supervised or the supervision of a qualified physician. Okay, so when working with lasers, you definitely need more education. Laser hair removal. Kind of what it looks like. So you can see here the laser, how it goes down right to the hair bulb. Abbreviated light emitting diode, LED, abbreviated LED, is a medical device used to reduce acne, increase blood circulation, and improve the collagen content in the skin. LED effects releases light onto the skin, stimulates specific responses at precise depths of skin tissue, seeks chromophore, a color component within the skin such as blood or melanin. Tissue depth triggers a reaction such as stimulating circulation or reducing bacteria. See, a lot of these procedures can be very helpful. Blue light, LED, reduces acne and bacteria. Make sure you know what each light does. Red light increases circulation and improves collagen and elastin production. Yellow light, LED, reduces swelling and inflammation. Green light, LED, reduces hyperpigmentation. And then the blue light, LED, is used for precancerous lesions. And when I was young, when I was about 20 years old, I had laser surgery on my cervix because I had precancerous cells, I guess. And they just lasered them off, and I've never had a problem with it since. So I'm very grateful. A medical device that uses multiple colors and wavelengths, broad spectrum of focused light to treat spider veins, hyperpigmentation, rosacea, redness, wrinkles, enlarged hair follicles, and pores and excessive hairs. As with most devices, multiple treatments are required. These treatments are provided only under supervised of a qualified physician. So in summary, because many of the devices and pieces of equipment we use in beauty devices are electrical, it is important to have a general understanding of the basics of electricity. We cannot perform various skin care services safely and effectively without understanding which form of electrical current will give the best result for the desired services. So I gave you one assignment in the middle of this video, and the other one is to complete these questions. 1, define electric current. 2, explain the difference between a conductor and a non-conductor. 3, describe the 2 types of electric currents and give an example of each of them. And 4, explain the difference between a volt and a amp. 5 will be define ohm and ohm. 6, define watt and kilowatt. 7, explain the function of a fuse. 8, what is the purpose of a circuit breaker? 9, what is the purpose of grounding? 10, list at least 5 steps to take for electrical safety. And 11 and 12, list and describe the 3 main electric maladies, which is currents, used in cosmetology. What are electromagnetic spectrum of radiation, visible light, and white light? List and describe the 2 main types of light therapy. 14, what are the benefits of LED therapies? 15, identify the colors of LED lights and their wavelengths. And 16, name 2 important precautions to observe when using light therapy. And this is Cosmetology 1000. My name is Vicki Horton Russian, and this is Chapter 13 on electricity.